The First Maccabees Chapter 2. First Maccabees Chapter 2. All right, we got some reading. I'm not gonna be precept, but if anybody got anything you want to share, definitely uh, unmute yourself, whatever, and share. Okay. So we are at First Maccabees Chapter 2. Chapter 1 kind of laid the groundwork, right? It took us from Alexander the Great and how we get to this um, Antiochus Epiphanes, right? And how he came and he was, well, some of Israel, I don't want to blame everything on him, but some of the Israelites, we went and made a league with him, right? We saying, listen, we'll go under your banner. We want to serve, we want to be one with you. We want to do your customs, your laws. And of course, he obliged with that. And then what happened? He started going and destroying the temple, destroying the people, doing all kind of things. And also not just killing and doing all those things, also preventing us from serving um, our God. All right. He was making sure we couldn't, that we didn't observe, the feast days, the Sabbath days, polluted the altar, did a lot of different things. So that was a big issue. Okay. So we look at that, all kind of horrendous things. And also, I think it ended with women that wanted to circumcise their children. When they got caught, they got killed. All right. And they made them actually hang the children around their neck, the emphasis around their neck, just to show the display of, we're not going to tolerate you trying to do the things of the law. Okay. So right now, where we at specifically in America, we're allowed to exercise, our faith to a certain extent, right? But this time when they was doing it, all right, it was a death sentence. Okay. All right, First Maccabees chapter 2. First Maccabees chapter 2. Start from verse 1.
In those days arose Matthias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joreb, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Medin. And he had 5 sons: Johanan, called Cadis, Simeon, called Thesai, Judas, who was called Maccabees, Eleazar, called Aran, and Jonathan, whose surname was Apphus.
Okay. So we see right now the focal point is on Matthias. Okay. So he had sons. All right. He said he's the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Joreb. All right. So we see he got some priesthood in him. Okay. So he had 5 sons. Okay. Very important. They all played a part in this as well as we move forward. Okay. But we know one is going to stand out because the book is named after him. Okay. So Judas, who was called Maccabeus. Now, anybody know what Maccabeus is? It's a nickname. What is that name dealing with? Maccabeus. If you need to Google it, go and Google it. What is that dealing with? Maccabeus. Everybody find it? That's another, it's like a name, I say a nickname, but like a name dealing with the hammer. Okay. Hammer of the hammer. Okay. So that was a name that was attached to him, attributed to him. Um, so this is why I call it Judas Maccabees, dealing with the hammer. That wasn't like his last name. All right. And we're gonna see he earned that name. We know people will get certain things, certain attributes and things you do. Sometimes you'll get attributed certain nicknames, right? All right, so these are the five sons of Matthias. All right, let's see what this is. What's happening? All right, so we got the character set. Let's go to verse 6. Read from
And when
there.
he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy in the sanctuary, into the hand of strangers.
All right, so I'm going to just stop there because it's very important. He says, and when he saw the blasphemies, all right. So some of the blasphemy, because blasphemy, everybody looking at, oh, that word, that's real bad blasphemies, and he's starting to explain what those were. Okay, he's seeing the misery of the people. People of God going through things, that's a blasphemous thing. He should be treated a certain way, getting killed and persecuted for standing for righteousness. All right. The holy city being destroyed, being tampered with. That was a blasphemy. All right. When I was delivered into the hand of my enemy and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. So also you're seeing that as well when the strangers, when the heathens take over the temple, they're doing certain things. That's a blasphemy because we know they polluted. Okay. And polluting it is just dealing with there's a proper way we're supposed to be doing things in the temple. Okay. And when you're not doing it the way it's supposed to be doing it, that's a sort of pollution. And this is not just to heathens or outsiders, but also even Israel can pollute the temple. They're not doing things they're supposed to be doing. Okay. So when you're going against what the Most High is saying, that's a sort of pollution. All right. That's a sort of blasphemy. Okay. All right. Verse 8.
Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
And this is what it is.
All,
Her temple, verse 8, her temple became as a man without glory. The temple was built for glory. Most High allowed us to have this temple to be a certain glorious thing for us. Something we took very much pride in, that temple. Okay? And it has a lot of even spiritual meanings behind it. Okay? Even though he destroyed all that stuff, the setup and everything was spiritually given. All right? So when we look at it, it was without glory because what? They're doing things to that temple that's not supposed to be done, right? Her glorious vessels are carried away. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. All right. So he's just talking about all the stuff that's happening. What nation, this is a good question. What nation have not had part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? And this is something we need to understand because we're so quick to jump to everything that comes up about these different nations. We always gravitate into a nation. We always gravitate to them. We want to be this. We want to be that. We want to be this. We want to be that. And not realizing you are conforming to people that were intentionally trying to destroy you. People like, oh, I want to be Egyptian. Did you not know that they literally wiped out basically a generation? Do you realize Passover is a celebration, the thing that we got delivered from our enemy? They were our enemy that was putting us in that. But we got identity crisis. You want to be them. And you want to be righteous people. Can't do it, below. Okay? So every nation, not just one, everybody trying to, benefit from it. Whether you directly took over or you're benefiting from the, the spoils of, us being taken over. Okay? So a lot of kingdoms, benefited from us. Okay. And that's something, like I said, even this time, he realized that. Okay. A lot of people benefited from us. And some people, they don't like you. They like what you can give them. Okay. And it's very important. When you live in righteous, you're doing these things, people want to take advantage of that. All right. So like I said, that's going to be expected. They're going to, but like I said, you have a God. If you're doing what's right, he'll protect you. All right, and he'll protect you and yours. Verse 11.
All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman, she has become a bond slave.
Mhm.
And
So listen to that. All her ornaments are taken away. A free woman, she has become a bond slave. All right. So you have these things. You got these ornaments being decked out, but now what? You're taking everything. All right. What you got, sis?
And we can excuse me, we can read that in Ezekiel 16,
Mm-hmm.
where the Most High found us, and we was not His people at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and we weren't even the salt of the earth. You know, well, 3 let you know that where He found us, and we was not His people. Verse 3, and I mean, you guys have to read it for yourself to, get that spiritual understanding, to follow up with the first Maccabees. But it's a really good one. Um, and then verse 4, it even showed that we wasn't the salt of the earth at that time when He found us. And to jump over to the precept, her ornaments taken away, because He gave us all our jewels and everything. In verse 11, He was like, I decked thee also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon thy hands and chains on thy neck. And I put a jewel on thy forehead and earrings in thy ear and a beautiful crown upon thy head. He letting us know He decked us out. He blinged us out, bling, bling, because it was a small thing to Him. But then, you go over to verse 15 in Ezekiel. That's where we begin to sin and begin to commit spiritual fornication, because that's pretty much what First Maccabees Chapter 2 is about: spiritual fornication towards the Most High. In verse 15, that's where that started at. And then he also let you know, so now, since you committed spiritual fornication, the precept verse 11 in Maccabees, I'm going to take this away from you. Thou hast also taken thy fair jewels of my gold and my silver, which I have given thee, and madest thyself image of men, and thou committed whoredom with them. So now you showing off what the Most High gave you, like, hey, look at me, look at the outside beauty. Like, we did this upon us, like we did this for ourselves, not, announcing the Most High.
Mm-hmm.
So verse 18, he's saying, took his style broidery garments and covered them. And, he's just letting them know, hey, since you did all this with what I gave you, because, he is jealous power,
Mm-hmm.
and we are his, Israel is his wife, So, hey, I'm a jealous husband. So now I'm going to take it all away. And that's where that lines up with First Maccabees. But Ezekiel 16 is powerful. And it definitely line up with the spiritual fornication.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I loved it. I think we had one lesson with this. Might have been all about Israel. Might have touched this once, but the sisters bringing out is so good. We can't go through it today for time's sake, but so good. Talking about our beauty, how do we get it? And it talks about even how we'll get cocky. We will start to think we got beautiful. We think that it's us that did it, right? It was our works, like even kind of what Paul deals with in the New Testament. It was no, because he just loved you. He was like, nobody wanted you. No nation was trying to get you. You was disregarded. Nobody was thinking about you. I just had love and compassion for you. And then I cleaned you up while you was polluting your own blood. I cleaned you up. I put the nice clothes on you. I gave you the jewelry. I made you so beautiful. And then everybody else wanted you. Okay. This is what we got to realize why they want you. See, the true one going to love you ugly, beautiful, whatever, right? They love you in your bad state. See, people that just try to use it, they just want you in that beautified state, everything perfect state. Okay. But this is what we do. And we do go to committing spiritual fornication. All right. I want to do that. I want to be those people. I want to do these kind of things that they're doing. Okay. And disregarding the God who took us out of nothing and made us something. Okay. How easy we forget. Right? Good passage, good passage on that. All right. So we see the ornaments is not just talk about naturally, but understand it's that that beauty that the Most High gave us. Okay. All right. What verse we at, brother?
Verse 8.
No. It's an 8. Am I in the wrong?
No. 12.
12. Okay. Yeah.
My bad.
Fine.
And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. To what end, therefore, shall we live any longer? Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore.
Okay. So I'm gonna do it like that. I'll do 3 out of no, we'll do it like we're doing it. So to behold, listen, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory is laid waste. So the sanctuary was very important to our forefathers, right? This is something like a gift that the Most High gave us, that we'll be able to, come and do the sacrifice and things, like we have that, our place of worship, a set apart place for us, right? I'm saying us, people that's entered into that covenant, want to be God's people, right? So when we look at that, he's saying this was our beauty, our glory. All right. When they thought about the temple, they think about what? Israel's God. This is where Israel God accept the offerings and things of that nature. All right. So when they laid it waste, they took that glory and beauty that we had away. Okay. In the natural sense, beloved. Okay. And the Gentiles have profaned it. All right. They did whatever. They not regarded. They ain't their God. All right. So the nations did whatever they wanted to it. And we know they was polluted. Okay. What you got, sis?
Hi, Kai, can you read Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 12? The water.
Mm-hmm. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life.
Kind. And that was going with also 11, but I wanted to bring that out, as well, to the Most High in Christ. All praise to the Most High.
All praises. That's a good point. Since we there, brother Kai, stay there. Go to verse. Let's read up a verse 11.
Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God they are become an abomination and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise.
So you see some of these idols, they're representation, and they're supposed to be what? A stumbling block. All right, these things are abominations and stumbling block. These things are to what? They try to transfer you from giving your worship to your God to something else. This thing is strategically set up. Okay? You want to replace your love and affection for this, right? Being with your God, and put it towards something else. Because Satan ain't going, all right, you're going to worship something. He already knows it's something in us that wants to worship. Okay? So what he does, he's a deceiver. He ain't gonna stop you from the worshiping part. I'm just gonna what? I'm gonna switch what you're worshiping. Because then you start to think that, well, you so caught up on the worship and not understand that it matters who you're worshiping. But you throw that idol up there and you have something to idolize, right? You think you're good. But this is what's becoming a stumbling block. And we know there's natural idols, right? That they make out of wood, stone, and things. There's also people idolize creatures, anything that the Most High made. People gravitate, He made the moon, the stars, all those things. They become idols to people. This is why we have our 10 commandments. Thou should not, you talk about coveting, right? Thou should not worship heaven above, earth beneath, all right, or the waters under the earth. And if you look hard enough, definitely with paganism, they're worshiping everything. All right. They're worshiping the creation, okay? And they're not even acknowledging the creator. All right. So this is a big problem, and it's going to be like that to the Lord, the Lord come, beloved. All right, that's just the reality of it. What verse we end up at? And good scripture says, good scripture. To the end, what should we live any longer? All right, so we see how he's feeling. To what end therefore shall we live any longer? Okay, because when you live in this thing, trying to do this truth, and you see this stuff happen and everything, it's a lot in you. When you love your God, you start to what? You love the things that he care about. All right, you hurt when your brother or sister hurt. He's seeing them go through it, even though he ain't killed her, probably some things he might be escaping, but he's still going through it as well. But he see the condition of the people, and it affects them. And people don't think that. We become so selfish, we don't even think about that. But if y'all hurt, I'm hurt. Because we're what? We're supposed to be a body. When you suffer, the whole body suffers. Some people just want to discard people. That ain't how it's supposed to be, beloved. Okay, so you see he's hurting because he's seeing the condition of the people and the things that the Most High have set up. Okay, and that's supposed to make you feel some type of way. Okay, being sin and wickedness, they try to make us numb from everything that's against God. Well, you just got to accept it. You got to they want to make you numb. Then they start incorporating certain things, try to get you worshiping something else. Okay, verse 14, brother. Let's keep going.
Then Matthias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore. And then meanwhile the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city of Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Matthias also and his sons came together.
So we look at this, Matthias, sons rent their clothes. So this is something that we would do when we were fasting for the most part. All right. So a lot of times you fasted when you're like going through something. And this is usually outside of atonement. But we'll put on the sackcloth ashes, kind of show the symbolic, being symbolic of basically we're trying to show the outward appearance of we're going through something. So you take off your, all your royal apparel, your nice clothes, and you put on, the scratchy sackcloth, right? To say, wow, they're going through something, right? They put the ash on their head to really show that they're mourning and going through it. We don't do that now, beloved. The fasting we do, but you don't have to put the sackcloth and ashes and everything, okay? But we would do that definitely in older times, okay? And they mourn very sore in that mourning because they see, once again, the condition of the people. Okay. Okay, let's go to verse 17. It's going to say it's a waste time.
They answered the king's officers and said to Matthias on this wise, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards.
Don't that sound familiar? That kind of tactic, beloved. All right. So listen, the king's officer said unto Matthias on this wise, okay, thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. All right. So this man, he had honor. He was stand up. He built that reputation, being honorable, right? And he had his 5 sons, which is also a great thing. All right. Talking about the lineage, definitely sons. All right. The strength. So he's saying you basically well established. Okay. And but listen what he's saying. Now, therefore, come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like all the heathens have done. So he's using you saying people look up to you. They respect you. They honor you. You come and be the first partaker of this. All right. And the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shall thou in thy house be in the number of the king's friend. You'll be referred to as the king's friend doing this. and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and gold and many rewards. So they was going to offer him some bribe money. Listen, a lot of people look up to you. You go and submit and you do it, they'll follow you, right? You'll be known as a friend to the king and you'll get the rewards. Same thing they do now, politics stuff, all right? You go and you do this, and then the people that follow you, they'll listen and they'll submit to it. And this is dangerous, right? It's good to have leaders, but you have to be mindful because some leaders will sell you out, right? We see it all the time in the church. What they doing? They the ones that's forefronting these movements, right? Homosexual stuff. They had to what? They infiltrated the church. Even though I don't refer to them heathen things as churches anyway, but they did. They get those men of God to come and put them on the screen. They the ones that's grabbing the Bible, twisting scriptures to make it seem like, oh, this is the will of God. You don't think they're getting rewards for that? You don't think they selling their people out for that? And people just follow. This is a tactic that's been of old, say nothing new. But we have to be wise. As leaders, we got to be wise. Because it's not just living for yourself, you're living for what? The example of those that follow you. See, there's the problem with leadership we don't want to accept. See, you got to restrain yourself even more with certain things because people are looking at you. Well, they should be at a certain level where they should follow me if I'm doing. No. Don't blame them. Don't be like Saul, right? We got to stand on this thing. Okay? And it's going to be some things. This is why the scripture even talk about, taking gifts and things of that nature. See, if you ain't in tune and doing this thing for the right reason, they'll be able to bribe you. Okay? It's not worth our soul, beloved. Nothing they can give us worth our soul. Okay? All right. But let's see what this brother's going to do. All right. Was it verse 19?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Then Matthias answered and spake with a loud voice. Though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
So I'm gonna read read that one again. Then Matthias answered and spake with what? Loud voice. All right. Like our brothers say, they use the Isaiah, cry loud, spare not. So he made this clear because what? He knew the position that he held to the people. And he knew that his wavering would affect how other people are going to do things. All right. Leaders are important. Leaders, Most High put leaders and everything for those kind of reasons. Because sometimes some people, I won't say as followers as in the weak thing, but sometimes they're not as strong, right? And they need that person to kind of guide them. Okay. And even though we're supposed to mature in that, but there's stages to it. So the Most High do put things like that in order. What you got, sis? I'm sorry.
You good. It reminds me of Ezekiel 3:17 through 24. Kai, if you can do the honors and read that for us with a loud voice. No, joking.
Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the word of my mouth and give them warning from me.
Do 24, brother.
Good. When I say unto the wicked, thou shalt surely die, and thou givest him not warning, nor speakest to warn the wicked from his wicked way to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Yet, if thou warn the wicked, and he turn not from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but thou hast delivered thy soul. Again, when a righteous man doth turn from his righteousness and commit iniquity, and are they a stumbling block before him, he shall die. Because thou hast not given him warning, he shall die in his sin, and his righteousness, which he have done, shall not be remembered, but his blood will I require at thine hand. Nevertheless, if thou warn the righteous man that the righteous sin not, and he doth not sin, he shall surely live, because he is warned. Also thou hast delivered thy soul. And the hand of the Lord was there upon me, and said unto me, Arise, go forth into the plain, and I will be there, talk with thee.
That's it.
Okay.
So yeah, that reminds me of that, but it goes in Maccabees, it goes to like verse 24 for that precept. But yeah, we have to warn them. It's on our hands to warn them. And if the wicked turn from the wicked ways, blessed be the Father. But if not, that blood is off our hands at that point. And that's what Maccabees reminded me of when I read through that.
Good precept. That's very important, right? This is part of being the watchman, right? That's part of responsibility. And this is what we got to realize, beloved. We ask for these things, right? You ask for it, definitely the Most High give it to you too. Got to be on your A game, all right? Things will get tough, right? It can be a position like, man, why? But you got to stand, okay? He got to stand and be the watchman that the Most High has put on him, okay? All right, let's go. What verse? I'm sorry, what verse?
We're on verse 21.
Okay, let me see what it says. All right. Oh, I wanted to get something in 19. Matthias answered, Matthias, right? Answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him. So he's letting you know, even though everybody, not just us, every nation is obeying this king's commandment, right? And fall away everyone from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments. So we look at religion, because I'm not doing a religion. This is big. Just understand the word. It's not that serious, right? You can say you have it's just a religion. It's just your belief system, okay? He's saying that y'all give consent to his commandments. Y'all left the tradition of your father. This is the thing. It's not just Israel. Other people do it too. There were some people that was taught their religion. They was giving it up and consenting to this to Antiochus and his license. So this is all the nations. Everybody have dominion over. Telling you, listen, we all gonna be one people. Y'all all got to get rid of y'all stuff and submit to this. Okay, and we see that to this day. You'll get people from all other nations submit to certain things. All right. Verse 20. Yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our father. I understand that they're doing it and they're going to submit and obey. But for me, we said, in my house, right, my sons and my brethren, we're going to stay in the covenant of our fathers. Okay, we're not changing. Even though everybody else could be doing what they want to do, they could be compromising. We're not going to do it. Okay, so he's standing strong and he's making sure everybody knew his stance. He wasn't keeping his stance all loud on Sabbath and then quiet all throughout. No. He let everybody know. Okay, this is what it is. And now that took like the sister brought out, that takes the blood off of him. All right, he did his job. Let's keep going. Let's see what's going to happen.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We would not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion either on the right hand or to the left. Now, when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
Okay. So once again, God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. Okay. Like Paul be saying, God forbid I'm not saying this, right? He's saying the same language, right? God forbid that I lose I forsake these things that was given to us. Okay. We will not hearken to the king's word to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left. And we see that kind of talk as well, right? Don't go to the right, don't go to the left. You got to take that narrow path. All right. So our forefather, they talk the same talk throughout the scriptures. Okay, because this is what we're supposed to be doing. When you're reading and you're consuming yourself in the truth, you will start to actually talk like them as well. Right? So we see that same pattern with our forefathers, with those that were in the truth. All right. So he's saying, listen, we're not going to go right hand or left. We're not going away from our religion, our faith. All right. But it's saying what? While he was speaking, look at this. There came one of the what? Jews. One of his brethren, right? One of our brethren came in the sight, and what they do it? Of all to sacrifice on the altar. Okay. So he's about to do the sacrifice. Remember, this time it's polluted. They're offering things like swine's flesh. They already putting the wrong stuff up there. So now while he's doing this thing, right? He's speaking his truth. He's preaching this thing. And now what? You got somebody that's coming and doing an abominable sacrifice. His own brother. Okay. Let's see how he go. Let's see if he has, that respectful person with his brother. Okay. What happens? Read.
Which thing when Matthias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down.
So we see this, that he saw this, and what? He was inflamed with zeal. Okay. So with this one, we have to understand this. Who else was inflamed with zeal? Anybody remember an example of somebody that was inflamed with zeal?
Phineas.
Phineas. Phineas, right? Right in that same lineage. There you go. All right. Hold on. All right. So Phineas was the example, right? He was inflamed. He seen that thing and what? Stabbed the guy with the javelin. Also, Christ, right? The zeal of the Lord ate him up. And what he started doing? Flipping over the money changers. This wasn't a personal thing. This was a godly thing. This was the Spirit of God coming upon them. Okay? And making them feel about a certain way. Because, like, what are you doing? You know the extent of the damage you're doing? So he went, and what happened? He went and killed them. Was it righteous zeal? Absolutely. This is why we have to see, because he should never did it. He just got. You got to put your spiritual eyes and see it. This was the judgment of the Lord that played out on this. Okay. Yes, he was Israel, but that ain't going to save you. I don't know why brothers and sisters getting that mixed up, like, oh, because I'm Israel, that's going to spare me. No, it does not. You have not read. Okay. The zeal and his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to the judgment, wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. So he killed him upon the altar, and then the king's commissioner, when I was telling him to do sacrifice and stuff, what happened? He killed him too. All right. And the altar he pulled down. So he took that thing right off. He got so fed up, so worked up. That's why every time you see somebody might look like anger on the outside, sometimes you gotta read it and get discernment, because sometimes the spirit on that person. Sometimes you just looking on the actions, you got to see it. Is that them? Or is that the Spirit of God coming upon them? Okay. Sometimes we get worked up at how the message come, but you better see if that message is from the Most High. Okay. So he went and killed him. All right. And the commissioner. So he killed him and pulled down the altar. Let's read verse 26.
Thus dealt he zealously for the law of God, like Phineas did unto Zambri, the son of Salom. And Matthias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city.
So we can go back to that 26. Thus dealt he zealously for the what? Law of God.
Oh.
So when they talk, that's why I say people understand it's a spirit behind it. That spirit of the law of God, what happened? Went into him. And what did he do? He executed it. He was zealous for the law of God. They put it, oh yeah, because of the law of God. Because understood what we're supposed to be doing and everything, that spirit of that law got in him. And that's what made him exercise it. Just like who? Like as Phineas. So you just like that spirit hopped on him. And we know it was good because the Most High rewarded him for it. All right? And that priesthood attached with that, a promise given to that, because he was zealous of the law of God. Okay? And it says what? And Matthew cried throughout the city with a loud voice saying, whosoever is zealous of the law, sound like Moses, whosoever is on the Lord's side. All right? It says what? And maintaineth the covenant. Let him follow me. See how these things in order? Moses saying the same thing. Whoever's on the Lord's side. He ain't worried about this. Listen to the key thing. He ain't say, if you Israel, no. Because all Israel, we know, ain't Israel. Everybody wasn't submitting to it. But he said, whoever is zealous, whoever is still upholding the covenant that the Most High gave you, come follow me. All right? And that's what it's about. Because the ones that are really going to do it, saying it was manifested. We got it linked together. Okay? So, of course, we had people leave, and what happened? So he and his sons fled the mountains and left all that they had in the city. All right? And the same thing, when you go to Matthew 24, what he's saying? Don't go back. You see some of these things, right? He said, go, they'll leave, you know, but some of us, we are so attached to the things we got, we can't even leave. Young rich ruler. He had much riches. I can't give it all up. I could give you some stuff, but I can't give everything up and follow you, Christ. This is why we have to see what our attachments are. That's holding us back from sometimes our salvation, our freedom. It's the attachments. Okay? But they left it all behind. All right? They knew the worth of what they were standing on. All right, let's keep going. Verse 29.
Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them. Now when it was told the king's servants of the host that was at Jerusalem and the city of David, that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day.
All right. So we see a lot of them are doing what? Stuff happened in Jerusalem. Where do we usually flee? He said, what? Going to those mountains. Okay. So it was a spot they knew to go. When something happened, you start fleeing to the mountains. All right. I don't know exactly what the location of how far it was, right? But we see it again. They flee to the mountains. All right. And they had what? Their children, their wives, and their cattle. They brought some stuff with them. And I want to make that distinction because listen, beloved, and women, y'all hearing it. There was women that'd be like, nah, I ain't going with you. I'm good here. Right? So they were standing when they left with their husbands or the children. Same thing. Because people was having decisions. I ain't talking about you have young children when they can't have nothing, but people had to make a decision what they want to do. I'm sure a lot of people, it was probably some split houses. Like, listen, I'm going to stay here. I mean, you go, I'm staying here. I'm going to do this. All right. So this is why we make sure you're on one accord, because things like this happen. It's going to separate. Okay. And then it says they're going and now they're making war against them on the Sabbath day. All right. Let's keep going. Verse 33.
And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hitherto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So then they gave them the battle with all speed.
So we're not going to do, listen, it's the Sabbath day, and they saying, listen, just come and submit. If you come and submit, it'll be good. We'll let you live. They always say it all the time. You do this, you submit to me, everything will be well. All right. They're like, listen, man, we not going to profane the Sabbath day. I hear what you're saying, but we ain't going to profane it. All right. So they standing strong on it, but let's see. The battle's coming down with all speed. So now they about to kill him. All right. But let's see what's happening. Verse 36.
Howbeit they answered them not. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they hid, but said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth will testify for us that he put us to death wrongfully. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle, to the number of 1,000 people.
Read that next verse.
There were Matthias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore.
They went on the Sabbath day, went to war, and they killed them. And they said, listen, they said, neither cast they a stone at them, nor stop the places where they lay hid. All right. So they didn't try to protect themselves. They didn't try to fight back. They didn't try to lay the rock there to try to prevent them from coming. They said, listen to their faith, beloved, because people don't catch it. Everybody think faith started in the New Testament. No. It says, but in verse 37, let us die all in our innocency. We're going to die knowing we did exactly what the Most High told us to do. We're dying innocent. And he said what? Heaven and earth shall testify for us. Because these are things that's looking at, basically, that's language that's been through the scriptures, right? They're going to testify, right? Even the blood, we're talking about the blood of righteous Abel crying out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it talked about blood of
Zacharias.
Zacharias, yeah, right? But even the Most High, when that heaven and earth, people don't grab it. What did he say? Even when he gave us the laws and commands, what he's saying? Heaven and earth. They're going to be, you're making this vow between heaven and earth. So it's like a witness. So with this, he's saying, listen, let them see that we stood and we are dying for not just our belief, but we're dying for our God. That's how they're looking at it. God gave us these things. He gave us a reward attached to these things. We're willing to die for it. Okay. So they basically just let them get killed, gave their lives up and let the enemy kill them. Okay. And this was on the Sabbath day, and they killed what? Men, women, and children. So like I said, want to give props to the forefathers, but I want to make sure our foremothers get a lot of props because they was dying just along with us, and even our young children. Okay. So Matthias and them mourned. They mourned for their, their loved ones right then and there. All right. Verse 40. This is serious, beloved. All right.
And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will now quickly root us out of the earth. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Then came there unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law.
All right. So they seen that slaughter and they didn't, they know their brothers and sisters didn't fight, right, and got killed. They made a decree saying, listen, we got to stand up, right? Because these people, we don't fight. These people are not going to show no mercy, and they're going to root us all out the earth, all right? Even though we got promises that wouldn't happen, right? But he's just saying, listen, we're going to fight. And it says, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we're going to fight them. We ain't going to lay our lives down. We're going to fight them. They try to kill us on the Sabbath. Because remember, someone might interpret as you doing, work and stuff like that, all that's polluting. So they're like, listen, we ain't going to do nothing. We're just going to die in our innocency, all right? Of course, the Most High, we've accepted that. But Matthew, them like, nah, we're going to fight. And they ain't going to just be killing all of us like that. Sis, what you got?
And it, like you said, it just shows different levels of faith. Even to this day, you have those that just, don't get prepared, and you have those who do get prepared, but neither one of them is one. However, neither one of them is wrong because everybody's at different levels of faith, yeah. So you have those who just lay down and say, okay, hey, we'll just lay down and die for the Most High in Christ, he'll count us worthy, Father willing, he did just that. And then you have Maccabees. Hey, let's prepare. We ain't just about to lay down and die. We don't care if it is the Sabbath day, We ain't doing no servile work. We're gonna fight for our lives. And I like the spirit of both of them, but yeah, I'm leaning more towards the Maccabees spirit.
Yeah, and I'm glad y'all caught that, because I was going to definitely say that I'm not judging either or. I think both of them could be moved by the Most High, and that's what sometimes you have to don't always look at too. Like, well, there's two different things, so somebody got to be right. Sometimes it's not a right or wrong. Sometimes it's just two different. I don't want to say perceptions of it. It's just two different sides of the same coin, right? So, for them, they were like, listen, we ain't even going to even give the satisfaction of even polluting it or whatever. We just going to give our lives for it, right? And they accepted the death, okay? And I'm sure the Most High will see them innocent with this, right? And also, he also put his spirit on certain individuals for certain things, right? It might not have been for them to even fight. Probably the same results, who knows, right? But he put his spirit for certain people to do certain missions, all right? And we see, well, as we go through it, we're going to see that Maccabees definitely have the spirit of fighting with him. Mosiah definitely used him, and the rest of the brothers and sisters for this. Okay, so they agreed with this, and then what happened? 42. Then came there unto him a company of the Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all such as were voluntarily devoted unto the law. All right. So we had our brothers and everything, and we always had little. I don't say always. I don't know all dates, but we have little fractions within it. Okay. So what are some of the things like zealots? That was like a subgroup in Israel. Sakari, they were like I think they was like more like an assassination crew in Israel. But that's I know people hear about the camp, but they got that from during the time, I think during the time of Christ, they had like the Sicaris. Like if you go through history and everything. So they had a little fraction of doing it. So there were some people that were devoted to the law, and they was about that fight in life. So they're like, listen, we're gonna go and do it. You know what I mean? They try to take this, we're gonna do it. So the most, like I said, there's spirits for different things. Okay. Most I have a spirit for people that he used for fighting instruments. Okay. So they're coming together, and what is it, the most high things will come together. All right, where we at, brother? Let's do 43.
Okay. Also, all they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them, and were a stay unto them. So they joined their forces and smote sinful men in their anger, and wicked men in their wrath. But the rest fled to the heathen for succor. Then Matthias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised violently. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph.
All right. So they're going around wiping people out, killing them. And also what they're doing, they're still trying to do them to get the law, right? They do what? And what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly. Okay. So when they see it, somebody else, listen, let's go and do it, right? Because this wasn't the personal thing, they just trying to kill their enemy and everything. They're doing this in defense. I want y'all to realize they're not going out trying to seek war, trying to just kill people. They're defending themselves. Two different, it's a different outlook on it. Okay. So they're going out. There were some people that were scared. And that's what happens, beloved. Some people don't want to do certain things, but sometimes they don't have the bravery to step out, right, to certain things. Sometimes, they need that hope, seeing their brothers like, oh, y'all got something together. Okay, let me join, right? So you're seeing some of this. So they're going out and they are persecuting wicked. And this is Israel, too, that they're killing, too. I want y'all to realize their brothers and sisters are the one that pushed this whole thing. So they're killing their brothers and sisters that's being wicked and everything. So it's fighting within Israel as well. Okay, same thing you will have today. They recovered the law, remember, because what they was doing, they profaned from you dealing with the law. They was what is that? I think they said they was ripping it up in the last chapter, right? Yeah, they was ripping the books of the law and they was burning them, right? So of
Ah,
course they didn't get all of them, but they grabbed them, right? The Most High suffered them to that everything wasn't destroyed, and what they was able to recover it. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Verse 49.
Now when the time drew near, that Matthias should die, he said unto his sons, now have pride and rebuke gotten strength in the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall you receive great honor and in the everlasting name.
Oh, hold on. Let's go quick over that, right? It's so important. Look, Matthews is getting to the end of his road. All right, he's there, even though he probably ain't doing all the fighting. I don't know. Might have been, that just that leader, right? But now he's seeing the end, and what is he giving to them? Now have pride and rebuke gotten strength in the time of destruction, the wrath of indignation. Now, therefore, my sons, be zealous for the law, not for yourselves, not for self-gain. Is very important because there's some people that try to do things for their own glory. He's saying, but be zealous for the law and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. This thing is worth dying for. You might not have to put the sword in your hand and things like that, but with our submission to doing God's will, we're doing the same thing. Be zealous to the things that the Most High told you to do. I think another scripture says, strive for the truth, even unto death. It's worth it because we know we only going to be here regardless. And if you die in the truth, you already know you get your reward. Okay? But he's telling us this is the strength of the Father. I want you to understand. You talk about how do we get people to have this kind of bravery when it comes to standing for God? It's because what? They're training up. Look at his father training them. He's been training them. You got to love this thing. You got to love the truth. You got to love the covenant that Most High gave upon us. Okay? And that trickled down to the children. Listen for 51, call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time. So shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. He said, look at the forefathers. Look at the ones before us that what? What they did. Just like they received great honor and an everlasting name because they stood for something. Okay? The same thing today, beloved. So look at the strength in that this our elder Matthias is bringing out and sharing to his children. And this should strengthen us, beloved. Okay? All right, let's keep going. Verse 52.
Was not Abraham found faithful in temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in the time of his distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. Phinehas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of the everlasting priesthood.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus, for fulfilling the word, was made a judge in Israel. Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land.
So real quick, it ain't talking about he's in the New Testament. That's Joshua. That's the same name. Okay, so that's dealing with Joshua. All right, I'm sorry.
Isaiah, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, Ezras, and Mishael, by believing, were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of the lions.
Hold on. I want you to realize this stuff don't expire. Right? Look what he's saying. Look at our the forefathers and what they did and how they stood and how the Most High blessed them. We know faithful Abraham. Remember Paul talking about what was imputed into righteousness, right? Because of his faith, right? Joseph, we already know about Phinehas. He was what? Phinehas, our father, and being what? Zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood, right? We know what he did. He was zealous for the law and killed somebody, all right? I'm not telling nobody to kill anybody, all right? But I want y'all to understand the points. Elias, verse 58, Elias, for being zealous and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Look how they are talking about the zeal and what you have to have the zeal in. All right? They're not doing this in the sense of, oh, well, we got to do this one part to show that they're not doing it for a show. They're taking it for what it is. This is something that we got that's precious from our God. See, we got to understand how you treat the gift that you get kind of show the representation of how you view that person. I'm not giving this up for anything. What's worth giving this up? This is we understand we dealing with the covenants and stuff. You get certain things. What's worth giving that up? Should be nothing. Okay? So they were all doing those things. All right, let's keep going. 61. We have to get out of here.
But thus consider ye throughout all ages, that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome.
Are you coming back out?
Yeah, fear not then. Hold on for a minute.
All right, let me read a little bit of it.
I'm here.
Oh,
Fear
okay.
not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is coming to nothing.
I'm sorry. I love some of these things. So 61, throughout all ages, none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. Nobody got overcame that put their trust in God. So we got to look at, are we putting our trust in the right spot? 62, fear not then the words of a sinful man, for his glory shall be dung and worms. Somebody's sinful and they not doing what thus saith the Lord is saying, don't fear them. All right? Then the words, don't even fear their words. Because a lot of them always got threats and what they're going to do and this and that. Don't fear them. Okay? They're not doing what thus saith the Lord. They don't have no glory. So their glory is like the dirt. Okay? But let's keep going.
Wherefore, ye my sons, be violent, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law. For by it shall ye obtain glory. And
Hold it. My sons, be valiant and show yourselves men in what? Behalf of the law. Okay, but I'm a man. You gotta look, I'm a man. But what are we supposed to be men in? That's what you gotta ask. What makes you man? Because some people just put it as, well, I got something between my legs, so I'm a man. That ain't what the scripture's talking about. This is the time you got to be a man, when it's coming to doing what thus saith the Lord. But this I said, wicked men, we always want to maneuver and switch around, right? And I'm talking about myself included. You used to try to do all these things. Oh, you got to do this, but I'm not standing for what thus saith the Lord. He said, no, you need to be valiant. You want to be man. You want to be tough. Be it when it comes to the word of the Lord. And what? For by doing that, you shall obtain what? Glory. Those that go and do what thus saith the Lord, that's how you're going to obtain glory. That's how it was. That's how it's going to be. All right? Verse 65.
And behold, I know that your brother Simeon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him. Away, he shall be a father unto you. As for Judas Maccabees, he had been mighty and strong even from his youth up. Let him be your captain and fight the battle of the people. Take also unto you all those that observe the law, and revenge ye the wrong of your people. Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed them and was gathered to his fathers. And he died in the 146th year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchres of his fathers at Modin. And all Israel made a great lamentation for him.
You receive that glory they talked about because he stood for something. All right, beloved. So, and this is something, even though he said with Simon was blessed apparently with the spirit of counsel. He said, listen to that. Sometimes we have to understand people got certain gifts for certain things. So why don't we support somebody in their gift, then try to covet it and take over it? All right. Some people, oh, well, Simon, he's smart. Well, we're going to do this, so I'm smart. No. I said, and this is why you need that leader, that father figure. Listen, this brother has wisdom. Y'all need to listen to the wisdom. All right. And Judas, what he's saying with Judas Maccabees, He had been mighty and strong from his youth up. He's going to be the captain. All right? It's not about what you want to be when it comes to the Most High. We're putting people in the right places to succeed. And sometimes that's what the leader is. Sometimes the leaders don't even have to be the smartest one. Say that again. The leader don't have to be the smartest one. All right? He got to have some wisdom, for sure. But one of the things that's a big, great quality of a leader, you're putting people in the right position to succeed. You want to maximize their ability. That's very important. And sometimes not spoken of a lot. Well, I'm this, so I got to be this. And you're going to make a mess. All right? When we see that the Most High has blessed somebody with a gift or a call and everything, let's support him in that call. Because in doing so, the Most High is getting the glory. Okay? So once again, we see it right now. Brother Matthias, hopefully I'm saying it right. We see that he's now died, but he has what? He left, but he gave order, and set his house in order before he left. Okay. So, beloved, that is First Maccabees chapter 2. All right. That is chapter 2. So we will end it there. All right. We will end it there. And Brother Kai, you can pray us out. Close out.
Okay.